right. Go Big Red, 17-0. There's no way this would come back to bite me in the ass.
The first man missed. Stayed on his feet for the touchdown. The freshman out of Detroit.
Okay. It's a touchdown. It's not going to get worse.
Distributing the ball all over the place. They're going to open with a trick play. They've got Nixon behind the D. He's going to go. The game changes in the blink of an eye.
It's anything can happen.
Block. Hits the sideline. Stays on his feet. Uses his speed. Goodbye. Mo Washington strikes right back.
Woo! Mo Washington. You've got a questionable thing coming up in October, but hey, what's that, man? It's a crazy response.
He hooks it, and Colorado, back from the dead, wins a classic.
Go Big Red. Welcome back to another episode of the College Football Hangover. I am your host, Jake Williams, and I am a very beaten down, sad little man because of what happened on Saturday with Nebraska, and I'll get to that in a bit. Let's just stay positive. Let's look at the positive notes, okay? Get it right out of the way. I was right about something. I know it's few and far between that I'm ever truly right about something on this show, but I'm right about a few things this week. One of them is not Nebraska, and again, we'll get to that, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack just for putting this Nebraska stuff up for this week. But hey, you know what? You got to, even in the darkest times, the hardest times, you got to stay true. You know, I bleed Husker red. It's like an abusive relationship being a Husker fan, though. Am I crazy? All right, let's talk about the things that I was right about. So, first off, I said this last season, and I continue to say it this season. I was never truly sold on Syracuse. Yes, a few years ago, they managed to upset Clemson in the Dome on Friday the 13th. It was crazy. It was truly an amazing moment for college football, and that's why we love this sport. Absolutely. They took Trevor Lawrence and the Tigers to almost unbelievable heights of, like, how can they have done this 2 years in a row? They didn't because, you know, Clemson's still a really good football team, and I think that was the one true close game they had. But man, oh man, did they not show up at all to play Maryland. And no disrespect to Maryland, but they spent most of the last few seasons, I mean, really ever since they joined the Big Ten, they've been kind of the bottom feeder of the conference, and that's me, a Husker fan, saying that. They have not been that great. Saturday, holy cow, 63-20. They absolutely dominated the Orange. And, you know, maybe you could blame a few factors on this. Maybe it's because the quarterback went down, things like that. Doesn't matter. Syracuse had all the hype in Ballyhoo. They were going to probably get College Gameday coming to the Dome. It would have been a great storyline because, again, 2 years ago they had beat Clemson. But, again, the tide has changed. Things have turned in my favor, and I was right about Syracuse, and I think they're a good football team. I absolutely do, but I just don't think they're what other people perceive them to be. I think they had a lightning in a bottle moment against Clemson 2 years ago, but I just don't see them, you know, being a top dog in the ACC. But, you know, they'll be a good team. They'll be a bowl team. They'll probably have 9 wins. They'll still have a good season. It's just goodness gracious. Whew, Maryland took them to the woodshed. Now we're going to move on to something else that I was right about, and something that actually brought me joy on Saturday. After the look, despite what I may feel about Nebraska, and I'm tiptoeing around. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, not all of it here. And remember, most of the time that I talk about this stuff, it's on the Loud Sports podcast, which is part of the Loud Opinionated family. Check it out. I'll put a link to the most recent episode down below. Done plugging. Back to the show. As much as I was upset about the Husker loss, there was something I was still holding out hope for later that night, and that was when LSU was taking on Texas. And the level of pettiness and hatred I have to the Texas Longhorns is just, I don't really know what it is. I've just never liked that school, never liked that team. And look, I am fully on the camp that there was never a rivalry between Nebraska and Texas because Nebraska would have to win those games, and Nebraska never really could. What I'll say about Texas, I'm glad they lost. Very, very happy, because again, we keep hearing this constantly. We've even heard it with Nebraska going into the season, the hype levels going in. Texas is not back. Texas won't be back. Texas is what Nebraska is, and people are going to freak out about that online, and people are going to be like, dude, 2009 is over. Actually, somebody on Twitter did say that, called me out for that and thought that we would be over 2009 by now, joking about Texas. Oh, I'm over it. I've just hated Texas long before 2009, and I'm just so sick and tired of all this hype behind Tom Herman that every single season they start the season saying Texas is back, Texas is back, Texas is back, Texas is back. I saw it on Twitter from Reddit College Football. They said drinking game, take a shot every time they say Texas is back. And they said, just kidding, we don't want to kill people. It's true. It's all you hear. And I understand that Texas kind of has that name brand mentality to it. But, dude, 2 years in a row, they lost to Maryland, okay? And, yes, they beat Oklahoma. And, yes, they got back to the Big 12. And they managed to beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. And those are great accomplishments. But it seems like no matter what happens, every single year, they are hyped up to be this thing that's going to represent the Big 12. It's very windy at my house. I'm gonna have to shut my window. It just doesn't happen because of moments like this. They get a big, hyped up, legitimate competition coming into their house in Austin, Texas, and they lose. And all credit to LSU, they look unbelievable. It just sucks that they're in the same division as the almighty Alabama and Lord Nick Saban. The moral of the story is Texas isn't back. It's amazing that just looking at the few episodes I did last season and doing the few episodes now, we're only in week 3 of the college football season, and I'm seeing so much of how it's so similar and the storylines can play out. And it's amazing. It truly is. Now let's get to another thing I want to talk about, and let's pour it on, folks. Nebraska. Now the Huskers, I'm disappointed. I really am. Not because I truly believe the things that I was saying. Now, I was playing it up. I was playing it up for everybody to see, doing the whole, the Kool-Aid man, as I like to call it, sipping the Kool-Aid for Scott Frost. I've been, hyping it up that they're going to go undefeated and Adrian Martinez is going to win the Heisman. I never truly believed that. But I do still believe, I did then, I still do now, Nebraska still has a shot to win the Big Ten West. The season isn't over. It's a long season. Have they not lived up to expectations? Maybe not, because people hype them up so much. But they didn't play They didn't play well, but they didn't play horrible against South Alabama. And the first half of this game, Nebraska played like the hype train that everybody had all offseason. It's just been the problem with this team and Scott Frost. They don't know how to win football games. They don't know how to impose their will on a team. When you are up 17-0 and you can't put your foot on another team's throat and suffocate them, it's a problem. It really is, and it does worry me. Although I do think they still have a chance to win the Big Ten West, I'm still going to be that much of a homer. I'm still going to drink that little bit of Kool-Aid. I mean, at the very least, I just want 6 wins. I just want a bowl game. It's not the 90s. That's another thing. I want to reach out to Husker fans all over the world. I imagine they exist. I don't know. Look, Nebraska is never going to be Tom Osborne's Nebraska again. Nebraska is never going to be that team. It's never going to happen. All right? The Nebraska's glory days are over. They were beautiful for the people that got to witness them. I was a baby. I didn't really get to see them. Point is, it's okay to accept that they're not the same team as they want to. As a fan, obviously you want your team to go undefeated and win a championship every year. As a fan, that's your number one lofty expectation. But there's also time to be realistic. Nebraska will never be what they were in the 90s. That's okay. I'm okay with them being a 9-win team or an 8-win team. It's okay to have that. It's so much better than being 4-8, isn't it? And, you shouldn't want mediocrity, whatever, dude. Just accept the fact that Nebraska is not the same, and Scott Frost might not be the savior everybody thinks he is. He's not going to win the national championships, but I think, truly, he'll get Nebraska back on track. And another thing I want to tell Husker fans, and I really want to illustrate this to you the best way I can. It could be worse. You could be the Tennessee Volunteers. Week 1, this happened.
Well, hand off to Barnett. No. Ellington keeps it, puts his foot in the ground, gets ahead for the first down, slips away, touchdown. Beautiful run for the quarterback, Dan Ellington.
And then this last week, and no disrespect to BYU, trust me, I know all about how good BYU can be on the road early on in the season. They did this.
Yep, it's Williams. pushing toward the end zone, and no signal yet. Now there it is, touchdown, BYU wins, and an absolutely horrific, gut-wrenching loss for the Tennessee Vols.
So just remember, it could be worse. You could be Tennessee, or you could also be Florida State, who, I mean, what is this? What are you doing? How do you not know which side you're supposed... and they won because of this.
This descended into a second OT.
Oh, my.
Florida State wins.
So as bad as that Colorado loss was, please remember, above anything else, it could be worse. And the last thing I want to talk about, and I know I did best of the week last week. Well, the best of the week this week. Iowa State. You talk about a team that really got the benefit of having a bye week and not playing. It's Iowa State. Now, I do think it's kind of stupid that they're not ranked, even though they were tied for 25th last week, didn't play, Nebraska lost, Syracuse lost. They're still not ranked, which I think is silly, but then again, who knows? These polls are stupid until the playoff polls. I think they're the best of the week because they benefited so much having a bye week and watching Syracuse lose. They got College Gameday. Or should I say, College Amesday. I am actually very excited because as someone who is a supporter of this team, who, again, I never really cared about Iowa State until I met the love of my life. But I'm excited for them. I really am. I think this is huge for their university. I think it's huge for the state of Iowa, and it's really nice to see the Cy-Hawk rivalry actually get some recognition. I've always thought that the Cy-Hawk game was a very underrated rivalry. It's a very fun rivalry. It's always competitive. It's gonna be good for everybody. It's gonna be good for the state. I can't wait because I will be at that game. I'm gonna do my best to be a part of game day. I really am. I don't know how well that's going to be for me because it's going to be complicated. I'm going to be tailgating, though. I know that much. And I'm going to do the best I can to get some footage, put it on this show, do whatever I can. This week has been a week that's been all over the place. I'm just excited. Congratulations, Iowa State. Congratulations, Iowa. Not only is it going to be great for the Cyclones, it'll be great for the Hawkeyes. I still hate them, but that'll be good for them and the state. And, I mean, I live in this state, so I am happy about that. It is hard being a Husker fan in the Hawkeye State, let me tell you. Yeah. So that's this week's college football hangover. Again, I didn't really dive into too much of the top 10, mostly because other than LSU and Texas, there wasn't else really going on. I mean, Clemson played Texas A&M and Texas. Oh, another thing I was right about. Texas A&M every year does this. They do the same thing every single year. They get overhyped and all this stuff. They get up to 12 and they still lose. They lose to Clemson. And there was no doubt in my mind that they would lose that game. And yes, I know what you're saying. The irony of a Husker fan whose team was 4-8 last year gets in the top 25 talking about a team being overhyped. I said they were overhyped. I said they shouldn't have been in the top 25. So do not attack me in the comment section, please. Go Big Red. Thanks so much for watching this show. I continue to bring it to you because I continue to love it. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode, and I love doing the show. I hope you love watching it. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't. I don't care. Click the notification bell so you can get more shows like this one. Also, while you're there, hit the subscribe button, baby. Also, check out the other shows on the Loud and Opinionated family of podcasts. The podcast network is what I should have said in the first place. Check out Loud Sports. Check out Backcast. Check out Super Cynical Cinema. Check out the Jake Williams Show. Check it all out. Or just watch this one. I don't care. And finally, go Big Red.